A very good morning, students. Today's question is describe the suprarenal gland under following heads. This is a full question, okay? And we have to write this question under following heads. Introduction of suprarenal gland, then the external features and relation of suprarenal glands, that means of the right gland as well as that of the left suprarenal gland, then its blood supply, the venous drainage, nerve supply, and lastly the applied anatomy. Okay, so we begin with a question on suprarenal glands. So in the answer we will first write the introduction of the suprarenal gland. Now the suprarenal glands are also called as adrenal glands. They are also sometimes known as adrenal glands, as these glands are located on the upper poles of kidneys. On the right kidney as well as on the left kidney. On its upper pole there is the presence of the glands, and they are called as suprarenal glands or the adrenal glands. Now these endocrine glands consist of the cortex and medulla. If we cut a section passing through the suprarenal gland, either right or the left suprarenal, the outer is the cortex and inner is the medulla. Now this cortex and medulla of the suprarenal gland, they will secrete, though these are endocrine glands, they will secrete the different kind of the hormones. That means hormones secreted by the cortex are mostly steroid hormones. They are the steroid hormone. And these steroid hormone, they help in maintaining the water and electrolyte balance. There is a corticosteroid. Then there will be the aldosterone, there will be some sex hormones. So multiple hormones are secreted by the adrenal cortex or suprarenal cortex. And they help to maintain mainly of the electrolyte and water balance of the body. So these are the hormones which are directly will be released into the blood stream or sinusoids of the glands. And their secretion is under the control of the feedback mechanism, concentration of the hormones, and which is sensed by the pituitary gland, through hypothalamus to the pituitary gland. So the pituitary gland controls the secretion of the cortex, hormones secreted by the cortex. Now then, in medulla, it is a different kind of the endocrine gland. And this prepares our body for emergency situation by secreting the epinephrine or norepinephrine. So these are the catecholamines which are secreted by the medulla. Thus the secretion of the cortex and medulla, they are entirely different. The reason being that the cortex developed from mesoderm and the medulla comes from the neural crest. So the source of their origin are different. That's why the hormones are different. Now let us come to the location of the suprarenal gland. The suprarenal glands are located in our abdominal cavity in the epigastrium. Epigastrium region of the abdominal cavity. And they are, as I said, located on the upper pole of the right and the left kidneys. Upper pole. Now that's why they are called as adrenal. So this is the location. The right gland, the measurement of the right suprarenal gland is 4 into 4 into 1 centimeter. That which means it is 4 centimeter height. Height is 4 centimeter. The width is also 4 centimeter, and 1 centimeter is the thickness. So it is quite a small gland. It is a small gland, and therefore both the right and left suprarenal, they measure around 5 grams in weight. 5 grams. So a very small gland is there. While the left gland also measure around the 5 by 3 by 1, that means 5 centimeter height, 3 centimeter width, and 1 centimeter thickness of this. So there are two glands. The right gland, which is located on the apex on the upper pole of the right kidney, is triangular in shape. Okay, it has an apex and base, so it is triangular in shape. The right suprarenal gland, you can see here in this diagram, this is the right kidney on its upper pole. This is the right suprarenal gland, which is triangular in shape. But the left suprarenal gland, which is situated onto the upper pole of the left kidney, it is semilunar in shape. It is not triangular, it is semilunar in shape. That difference between right and left suprarenal gland you should know. Okay, you should know. Now, after this brief introduction and location of the right and the left suprarenal gland, let us come to the individual gland. So first we will deal the right suprarenal gland, its features, and then I will tell you about its relation. Okay, so we are now on the second point, and that is the external features and the relations of the right and the left suprarenal gland. So let us see the external feature first of the right suprarenal gland. As I said that this gland is triangular in shape here. See, this is triangular in shape. Okay. Now this gland, okay, which is triangular in shape, it has an apex. This is the apex of the gland. It is sitting on to the upper pole of the right kidney. Okay, so this is the apex. Then it is having a base where it is touching to the upper pole of the kidney is the base. So since it is triangular, it has an apex and a base. Okay, and then there are the three borders, and three borders means, okay, one is the medial border, which is facing towards the median plane. This is the lateral border, and this is an indistinguished anterior border is there. But in spite of having the three borders, the suprarenal right has only two surfaces, and these surfaces are the anterior surface, that is between medial border and the lateral border, and then there is one posterior surface. There is one. So there are two surfaces, anterior surface and the posterior surface, and three borders, anterior, medial and lateral, and an apex and a base of the right suprarenal gland. So this is the external feature of the right suprarenal gland. Now let us come to the relations of the right suprarenal gland. Okay, so if we see the relations of the right suprarenal gland, we will see that it is related to the abdominal structures. Okay, now let us see, this is the right suprarenal gland. We are seeing it from the anterior surface. So its anterior surface has a medial vertical area. See, narrow medial vertical area separating between, lying between the anterior border and medial border. Okay, while then it also has a triangular lateral area, and this triangular lateral area is separated or bounded here medially by the anterior border, and here it is the lateral border, an apex and base. Okay, so this is the anterior surface of the right suprarenal gland has the two division or two parts. Okay, divided into two parts. Okay, on to the medial area of this anterior surface, this right suprarenal gland here, it is related to the inferior vena cava. It lies deep to the inferior vena cava. Okay, so it lies deep to the inferior vena cava. Now, so this is related to the inferior vena cava, and then lateral area is related to the right lobe of the liver near the near the bare area of the liver. So it is in relation to the right lobe. So these two areas of anterior surface are related medially to inferior vena cava and laterally to that of the right lobe of the liver. Now this medial border here, see this medial border? This medial border is related to the right celiac ganglia, And celiac ganglia, you know, there is one right celiac ganglia and another is left, and they lie on either side of the celiac trunk, okay, and it is a ganglia of the autonomic nerve plexus. That means there is a plexus of the nerves, autonomic nerves, sympathetic and parasympathetic, which are interconnecting the celiac ganglion of right and left side and forms a dense plexus at the root of the celiac trunk, which lower down continuous with that of the aortic plexus on anterior aspect of the aorta. Okay, so this is the medial border, how it is related to that of the medial, I mean to say the right celiac ganglion, okay, right celiac. Now the posterior surface. Now in the adjacent diagram, this is again the same kidney, the right kidney, but we are looking it from the posterior surface. So the posterior surface of the suprarenal gland here is shown, and this posterior surface of the suprarenal gland is divided into two parts, okay, related, which is related above to the right crus of the a large area of the right suprarenal gland on posterior surface. It rests on to the right crus of the diaphragm. So it is related to the right crus of the diaphragm, while a lower part is related to the right kidney, okay, apex of the kidney area is to the related to the kidney. So there are two relations on posterior surface of the right suprarenal, that is to the right crus of diaphragm above and to the kidney below, okay, kidney below. So this completes the relation of the right suprarenal gland. Just remember these two diagrams, which will help you to understand the relation of the right suprarenal gland. Let us go to the left suprarenal gland, okay. So we go to the left suprarenal gland, and in the similar way, let us see first the features of the left suprarenal gland. See this is the left kidney is here, anterior surface, and then this is the anterior surface of the left suprarenal gland, which is, okay, semi-lunar in shape, okay, crescentric or comma shape, sometime you can call it. So this is having two ends. Which are these two ends of this gland? As we are seeing it from anterior surface, it is an upper end. See this is an upper end, which is having the apex, okay, type, a narrow end, and then the broad end is the lower end here. So this is the lower end, and this is the upper end of the left suprarenal gland. Let us come to the borders. So there is a medial border, and medial border is here. See this large medial convex border, which is facing towards the median plane. This is the medial border. And then there is a lateral border here, okay. This is the lateral border, and this lateral border is concave because it is resting onto the apex of the kidney, or the upper pole of the kidney, not apex. It is through the upper pole of the kidney, which is convex. So that's why it is concave, okay, that's why it is concave. So just remember this simple diagram for the features, okay, which will show you upper end, lower end, lateral border, medial border, and anterior surface. Posterior surface is behind. So there are two surfaces. One is anterior, which is seen in this diagram. In the next diagram, we will see the relation, where I will show you the posterior surface of the left suprarenal gland. So after learning the features of the left suprarenal gland, let us go to the relations of the left suprarenal gland. Okay, these are the diagrams showing you the relation of the left suprarenal gland. This is the left suprarenal gland onto the upper pole of the left kidney, see where we are seeing its anterior surface. But this diagram shows the same left kidney but from posterior surface. That's why the suprarenal gland, which is on its upper hand, is seen from the posterior surface. So this is the posterior surface of the left suprarenal gland. Let us see the relations of anterior surface in this diagram, okay, anterior surface. Now this a semilunar gland on its anterior surface is divided into two parts because it is in relation to the two different abdominal viscera. Okay, the superior part is related to the stomach. Okay, the superior part is related to the stomach on its anterior surface, and then inferior part is related to the splenic artery above and the pancreas below. And so that means because the splenic artery runs on the upper border of the pancreas, so this is the pancreas is below and the splenic artery. So three structures are related to the anterior surface of the left suprarenal gland. From above it is stomach, splenic artery, and then the pancreas. Okay, let us see this diagram which is showing you the posterior surface of the same left suprarenal gland. Okay, now this has a area which is near the upper end. Okay, and here it is related to the kidney. Okay, this is related to the kidney, but here, okay, a large part on posterior surface, that is the medial part, is related to the left crus of the diaphragm. It is related because it is left kidney and left suprarenal, so it is related to the left crus of the diaphragm, that is medial part, while on posterior surface the lateral part is related to the kidney. Okay, what about the medial border? The medial border, here you can see here, this is from anterior surface, and this is was the medial convex border, and this was the lateral concave border. So the medial border is related to that of the left celiac ganglion, and this left celiac ganglion, and just close to it will be the left gastric vessel, that means artery and vein, which runs on to the lesser curvature of the stomach, will be related here. Okay, will be related here. So this is the medial border is related to the celiac ganglion, this celiac ganglion, this is the celiac ganglion, I have not labeled it. Okay, so this is the celiac, left celiac ganglion, okay, left, it is the left celiac ganglion is here, right? Okay, so this completes the relation of the left suprarenal gland also. Okay, so we have seen the features and the relations of both right as well as the left suprarenal gland. Let us come to the blood supply of the right and left suprarenal gland. They have the similar blood supply. That means the source of the arteries, it is from the same place. Okay, it is from. So three arteries they supply either the right or the left suprarenal gland. They are as under. The upper one is the superior suprarenal. See here, this is the artery which is taking origin from abdominal aorta. As soon as it comes out through the aortic opening just deep to the median arcuate ligament of diaphragm, and then this is the first branch which is to be given as a paired branch from lateral side is the inferior phrenic artery. Now this inferior phrenic artery gives branch on right side as well as on to the left side, which goes and supply the suprarenal on the right side as well as on left side. Hence it is called as superior suprarenal, because then the direct branches from the aorta comes out, which goes directly towards the right and left suprarenal gland, and these branches are called as the middle suprarenal artery. Okay, and then the third artery which comes for the blood supply to the suprarenal gland, they come from the renal arteries, from right and left renal arteries. They give an upward branch which goes and supply to that of the right and the left suprarenal gland, and these are called as inferior suprarenal artery. So there are three suprarenal artery, one superior branch of phrenic, one direct branch from the aorta, that is the middle suprarenal, and one branch from this renal artery, that is the inferior suprarenal artery. So three arteries they supply to the suprarenal gland. Okay, they supply to the suprarenal gland. Right, so these are the three arteries. So they come in pair and they supply it. Okay, they supply. Now you must be realizing that these three arteries are supplying to such a small gland which is hardly 5 gram in weights. Okay, so the suprarenal gland has a very rich blood supply because it is very active in production of the different types of the hormones. Okay, that's why it has a very rich blood supply. Now let us come to the venous drainage of right and left suprarenal gland. Now the venous drainage of the right and left suprarenal gland is shown in this diagram. On the right side, it will drain into directly into the inferior vena cava, because inferior vena cava will lie on its medial part. Okay, we have learned its anterior relation. Okay, so the inferior vena cava lies on its anterior surface here. So while it is lying, from this gland comes a branch, comes a tributaries which goes and pour the blood into the inferior vena cava directly. Okay, so it goes directly to the, but on to the left side, it is the left suprarenal vein which goes and drain into the left renal vein. It goes and drain into the left renal vein. So these are the two different venous tributaries which drain at two different places. Okay, not onto the same place as we have seen in the arterial supply. Okay, so this was the venous drainage. Let us come to the nerve supply. Nerve supply of the suprarenal gland is important because the cortex is not supplied by the nerve except the branches to that of the vessels. Otherwise, directly no supply is there to the cells of the cortex. Okay, because they are under control of the anterior pituitary. Okay, so nervous stimulation will not release the corticosteroid hormones or mineralo or glucocorticoid hormones or the sex hormones from reticulosa, but this secretion is under the anterior pituitary. But the medulla is directly under the control of the nervous stimulation, hence it is having the nerve supply. Okay, and these nerves are the fibers of sympathetic nerve. Okay, sympathetic fibers. Let us see in this diagram if you can understand. This is the cross section of the thoracic spinal cord, and then here is the lateral horn where this is the presence of the preganglionic sympathetic neuron. Preganglionic sympathetic neuron, because after relay in this sympathetic chain it becomes the postganglionic. So these are preganglionic sympathetic neuron. These fibers, they come from in the splanchnic nerve and then they go towards the medial side, okay, forming the splanchnic nerve. And these fibers are the preganglionic sympathetic fibers which do not relay here in sympathetic ganglion. Okay, otherwise it should relay in sympathetic ganglion, and postganglionic fibers then will run along with the dorsal and ventral rami of the spinal nerves to supply the blood vessels, to supply the sweat glands, etc. But here they are splanchnic nerve, they are directly coming without relaying. That means still it is a preganglionic sympathetic fibers, and these fibers will relay onto the cells of the adrenal medulla, okay, which is located in the center of the suprarenal gland. And that means this cells of the suprarenal gland of adrenal medulla, they are under control of the stimulation of the sympathetic fibers. Okay, so when the stimulation will come, then the secretion of the adrenal medulla will take place, that is epinephrine and norepinephrine. It is said that the cells of the suprarenal gland medulla, suprarenal medulla, they are homologous to the postganglionic sympathetic neuron, and that's why the preganglionic fibers are coming and directly supplying to that. Okay, and they secrete the epinephrine and norepinephrine. They come from the neural crest to form the medulla. That these facts, they say that they are, have the origin, ectodermal origin or nervous origin is there. That is the reason why the medulla cells, they have the nervous control, okay, not like that of the cortex, which is having the control by pituitary and that of the pituitary gland. I hope you have understood the nerve supply of the suprarenal gland. Let us come now to lastly to the applied anatomy. And applied anatomy you must have read. You must have read the applied anatomy well into say physiology. Okay, so I will just give the names, and from physiology book you can learn about its applied anatomy. Now there is a tumor of the adrenal medulla, not of the cortex. Okay, it is of the adrenal medulla, called as the pheochromocytoma. It is a tumor of adrenal medullary cells. Okay, and because of this tumor there is a production of lot of the epinephrine and norepinephrine, which goes into the circulation because of the tumor, leading to the lot of problem in the patient. Okay, there is always constant high blood pressure is there, headache, and because of that there is headache. Then there is a palpitation, means the heart rate has increased. Okay, and sweating takes place. Okay, so all those sympathetic overactivity is seen here because of the presence of this tumor, and naturally then this tumor has to be removed, and that condition where tumor has to be, or the gland has to be removed, is called as adrenalectomy. And this is also removed. Okay, and you have to remove it not only where in which gland tumor is present, but in conditions of cancer of the breast and the prostate, both the adrenal glands are removed. That is the adrenalectomy. Then there is a condition called as Addison disease, and in Addison disease, which is a tumor of the cortex, now this hyposecretion of the adrenal cortex hormones, that means there is a deficiency of the hormones is there. Okay, and while just opposite is the Cushing syndrome, where the secretion of adrenal cortex is hypersecretion, more secretion is there. So their effect are thus will be different, which you can learn from physiology. So these are the 4 applied anatomy of the suprarenal gland. Okay, I hope you have understood the various aspects of the suprarenal gland. Sometime you may be asked only the right suprarenal gland, or sometime the left suprarenal gland alone, and then you have to extract your answer from this lecture. Okay, thank you very much for watching this video.